So, what happens after we die? Yeah, I know, it sounds kind of heavy, but don't worry. Today we're going to explore this age-old question with curiosity, wonder, and maybe even a few laughs along the way. We'll take a look at what religions say, what science says, and what atheists think too. Because no matter where you're from or what you believe, one thing's for sure. Death is the ultimate mystery, and it's something every single one of us will eventually face. So, let's dive into the afterlife, or lack thereof, and see what we find. The religious perspective. Let's start with religion. For thousands of years, humans have turned to spiritual beliefs to answer the big questions in life and death. Each religion offers a unique vision of what comes next. Let's break down some of the major ones. Christianity. In Christianity, when you die, your soul leaves your body and faces judgment. Depending on your faith and your deeds, you might go to heaven, a paradise filled with love, life, and God's presence, or to hell, a place of punishment and separation from God. Some Christians also believe in a temporary state called purgatory, where souls are purified before entering heaven. But the real twist, according to Christian doctrine, there's a judgment day in the future where everyone will be resurrected and judged again. Islam. Islam has a similar but distinct perspective. After death, Muslims believe the soul enters a state called barzakh, a kind of waiting room between life and the day of judgment. When that day comes, everyone is resurrected and judged by Allah. Those who lived righteously and followed the teachings of Islam enter Jannah, a lush, beautiful paradise. Those who didn't, they face punishment in Jahannam, which, like hell, ain't exactly a vacation. But here's something interesting. In some Islamic traditions, even sinners may eventually be forgiven and admitted into paradise. Hope lives on. Hinduism. Hindus see death as part of a cosmic cycle called samsara, the endless loop of birth, death, and rebirth. After you die, your Atman, or soul, is reincarnated into a new body. This cycle continues until you achieve moksha, or liberation, which means becoming one with the divine and escaping the cycle entirely. What determines your next life? Karma. Not instant karma like slipping on a banana peel, but the sum of your actions in this and past lives. Live well, and you might come back with an upgrade. Live poorly, and, well, you get the idea. Buddhism. Buddhism also believes in reincarnation and karma, but with a twist. There's no permanent soul in Buddhism, just a stream of consciousness that continues from one life to the next. The ultimate goal? Nirvana. Freedom from suffering and the cycle of rebirth. Think of it as enlightenment so profound that your soul, or non-soul, doesn't need to come back again. The atheist view. Now let's shift gears. What do atheists believe happens after death? Well, usually, nothing. For most atheists, death is the end of consciousness. No pearly gates, no fiery pits, no reincarnation, just the lights going out. Game over. The beauty of finality. Atheists often find meaning in the finite. Knowing that life is short can actually make it more precious. You don't need eternity to appreciate a beautiful sunset, fall in love, or dance like an idiot at a wedding. Life's meaning comes from life, not from what comes after. The science of death. So, what does science say happens when you die? Let's start with the basics. When your heart stops beating, blood stops flowing. Your brain, starved of oxygen, begins to shut down. Within minutes, your neurons start to die, and electrical activity fades out. But here's where things get really interesting. Near-death experiences. People who have died and come back often report near-death experiences, or NDEs. You've probably heard about them. The bright light, a feeling of floating, or even life reviews flashing before your eyes. Are these glimpses of the afterlife? Science has a few theories. One idea is that these experiences come from the brain releasing a flood of endorphins and chemicals during extreme stress. Another is that low oxygen or disrupted brain activity creates hallucinations. But here's the kicker. Scientists still don't fully understand why NDEs happen, or if they're just tricks of a dying brain. So, yeah, the jury's still out. One thing we do know is that your body doesn't go to waste. You return to the earth. Your atoms get broken down and reused by plants, animals, and eventually people. So even if your consciousness disappears, your physical self becomes part of the next generation of life. Kind of poetic, right? So what should we believe? At this point, you might be wondering, so what's the truth? Honestly, we don't really know. Some find comfort in faith, others find peace in science, and many sit somewhere in between, curious, open-minded, and unafraid to admit that they don't know what happens when we die. And maybe that's the whole point. If the afterlife exists, great, but if it doesn't, we've got this right now, and that might be enough. So tell the people that you love them. Chase your dreams, take risks, eat that extra slice of cake, and don't be afraid of death because life is amazing. Thanks for sticking around for this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss out on our next deep dive. Let us know in the comments, what do you think happens when we die? Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and stay alive.